I have no problem with Islam per se. All right. In fact, I couldn't care less what you believe, what faith you say you belong to. Doesn't matter to me. What matters to me is how people act, whether they respect human freedom, whether they deal fairly with others, whether they break their promises, and all those other things, right? In other words, the contents of the character as shown through one's actions. Whether your faith supports you in being a decent human being or not doesn't matter to me. It's a private matter. I am a believer in God, but that's a whole other story. So I do have a problem with a couple of things about Islam, though, that I can't figure out whether this is something we should be concerned about or not. So let me share those with you. The first thing is that unlike, say, Christianity or in fact any other major faith that exists today, Islam actually does have a social and political doctrine manifest as Sharia law. Now, Christianity, for example, gives you a set of rules, basically personal ethics and interpersonal ethics, how we should act in our personal lives and how we should act towards one another. But it does not prescribe a set of political beliefs or social norms as in, say, rules for making governments and rules for making states. Islam does have a doctrine that exists in that dimension, in the political and social dimension. And that is what bothers me. I think that's a problem. Because when you look at the Sharia laws, as long as somebody just privately believes in Islam and prays to Allah 5 times a day, I don't care. If it makes them happy, if it makes them feel better about life, if it helps them with life's challenges, so be it. I don't care. Okay, I just don't care. But if their faith tells them that the society should be constructed in a certain way and government should function in a certain way that is incompatible with what I hold to be the most important things in life, and that is individual liberty and human freedom, and in particular, if their faith is incompatible with the U.S. Constitution, whose whole purpose is to guarantee liberty and freedom, then I have a problem with that. Because that means that there's a billion point three people, 1.3 billion people out there that believe that the United States Constitution is like, what, satanic? Against the will of Allah? Again, as long as they just privately think that in the comfort of their own homes or mosques or whatever, no problem. Anybody's entitled to whatever they want to think. But if their faith dictates that they do something about this injustice that they observe, then we have a situation on our hands, all right? And the other thing is, now, I have not read the Quran. If you're a Muslim and you've read the Quran, or if you're a non-Muslim and you've read the Quran, correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe I've read in many sources that I trust that the Quran actually says a lot of things, and among those things there's some pretty violent stuff there. For example, things like you should slay infidels wherever you find them, blah 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 blah. So there's clearly a call to arms as far as infidels are concerned. At the same time, Quran does say that harming innocents is not good. So it kind of condemns harming innocents. It kind of condones killing infidels and harming infidels. My question is, can an infidel be an innocent in the eyes of a devout Muslim? Can somebody answer that question for me? I would be eternally grateful for someone of Muslim faith if they could explain this to me. Can an infidel, a non-Muslim, a non-believer, or a believer in a different faith, be an innocent according to the Muslim faith? Is there one interpretation in the Muslim faith of that issue? Are there several? Which ones are dominant and why? Because my suspicion is that for many people who practice Muslim faith, if they really think about it, an infidel is not innocent. That's my problem. Again, if there's 1.3 billion people out there who believe that for the mere fact that I don't believe that Sharia law should rule the land, and that I don't believe in Allah the way they do, if that is the reason, the sole reason for me to be killed or enslaved or forcibly converted, I have a huge problem with that. Bottom line is, I'm buying a gun.